All right. Sound check 1 2. Sound check 1 2. Can anybody hear me? Sound check 1 2. Sound check 1 2. Simple thumbs up or yes or no. Sound check. Hello, hello. All right, very good. So sound is working. We're up and ready to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started real quick. And where do we start? Okay, so we're going to start with Bitcoin. Obviously, this is the chart that I had posted for quite a while. And thinking that this is where we might be going, right? So we had wave 1 up, 2 down, 3, and then 4 back for a correction. Didn't violate wave 1. And we chopped around for a bit. I said it was going to be a choppy move up. And then we finally get the move up. I don't think it's totally done just yet. Hi, Eddie. How you doing, buddy? Thank you. I don't think we're totally done just yet, and I'll show you why here in just a minute. But this is kind of what I've got right now, at least on a 4-hour chart. Okay? And let's just assume for a moment that this is going to remain choppy to the upside. Okay? Because I still think it could take a few days before we eventually get to where we need to go. Okay? So let's just assume for a moment that this little area right back over in here, which didn't hit our target, is the high. If it is, and we're outside Bollinger Bands, and you guys already know how I feel about outside of Bollinger Bands, right? Is that we have to correct back into the inside before we, continue and move up. So let's look at this. Let's scroll in a little bit so you can see it clear. We're outside Bollinger Bands. We're still riding the upper Bollinger Band, which is not bad, right? But it's not sustainable over a long period of time. So let's assume that this little area right over here is a top. What are we looking for? We want to look at this area right here at the 236 retracement. 85.78-ish, somewhere in there. Possibly even back down to 8,400. And then you get that last move. So there's still an opportunity for those of you that might have caught this move late. I'm not recommending that you buy it right here where it's at right now. Of course, I could be wrong and it goes straight to 9,000 and then we have to redo the whole deal. So, but I'm not recommending that you buy right now after it's made this move. Okay? In my opinion. So that's what we got on Bitcoin. We'll see how it plays out. And I think it goes actually higher. And I'll show you why on another chart. And this is the Bitcoin futures chart. I'm going to pull it over. It's a little bit different price-wise, but it's broken past a lot of the fib retracements that I have drawn. Okay? And the next resistance is at the 786. And the 786 is at 9,300. Okay? There is nothing in here that tells me that I have to watch for major resistance on Bitcoin, right? Until it gets to here. Okay? And then you have another resistance right up here at 10,000. So I think this could, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to get there in one shot. I could be wrong. I would like to see it pull back in a little bit and maybe consolidate a little bit and then make that move higher. But again, the bars on the squeeze indicator, and normally these last about 7 to 8 bars. They could extend out to 9 or 10, very rarely. But we're only on bar number 6 of this histogram, okay? See the green dots down at the bottom? That tells you it's bullish. That typically lasts about 7 to 8 bars, typically. So let's see if we get some sort of little retrace back tonight, maybe. And then eventually break out and go higher. But here's the other thing too, is that as bullish as this move is, and it's bullish, we're still making lower highs, right? So the big deal for Bitcoin is going to be right up here at 10,000. If it breaks that high, then you've established a newer high, and she probably just continues to rocket on higher. I'll look at GBTC here in a little bit. Right now I want to get a couple other things out of the way. But I will look at that for sure. But anyway, everything's looking good indicator-wise. Slow stochastic is just, it's moving in towards oversold, getting close to. That would coincide probably with this area that I'm talking about right up here at 9,300, possibly even 10 if it makes that big move. But I want to see it consolidate just a little bit. Okay? Consolidate just a little bit and then make that last move higher. I don't want to see it do it in just one shot. That wouldn't be good for it would just look, it's like a parabolic move. And if I want to get a bull market going, I don't want to see a total parabolic just immediately. I want to see it chew through these shorts and just get them shorting more. So that means they have to cover more whenever it starts moving higher. So let's just trap as many shorts as we can. So anyway, all right, so that's Bitcoin. Let's go over to the big winner of the day. And I got to give a big time tip of the cap to my buddy Bean Crypto in the channel. He's the one that brought this to our attention. And Lord of mercy. When you see something move 60 some odd percent in one day, actually it moved 86%. I'd say that's a pretty darn good move. So tips off to him. And if you're in my channel, okay, there he is. Big hats off to him. Kudos and great call. He pointed this out like months ago, probably back in here when it was bottoming out. And good for him. He was buying, holding. I think I mentioned it in a live stream, maybe not this last one, but maybe the one before that I was getting in. And it was on the retrace of the 10 EMA, and then makes the move, and there you go. Is it a buy right now? No, not in my opinion, and I hope he doesn't disagree with me. But we hit this fib retracement up here. I would like to see it come all the way back to 250-ish, 255, 260 area, hold this old, which was resistance, now should become support. Okay, price is way outside Bollinger Bands as well. Again, I don't need to regurgitate this, but you know how I feel about way outside Bollinger Bands. At some point it pulls back in, just kind of like it did back here when it made this move, right? And we talked about this. It was outside. I thought it would pull back in. It didn't pull back in as far as I thought, but I thought that the 23.6 or the 38.2 would hold. And I think it got close, and then it just went on higher from there. So, big time kudos to Being Crypto. All right, ETH. Let's go over to ETH real quick. And again, this is where, you know, we're starting to break some of these old resistance zones. We talked about this. Here was a resistance zone right here. Pointed this out the other day. Said if it gets above this, then we could possibly turn that into short-term support. So now what are we going to do? Let's take our settings and change that color, now that it's broken it, to green. So this area is now support, or it should be, okay? Not saying that ETH is going to get all the way up here. It could. And especially if Bitcoin goes to 9,300 or 10,000, right? That's eventually where it will probably go. But in the meantime, if we switch this over to a 4-hour chart, okay, and we see how price is outside Bollinger Bands, let's see if it pulls back inside and gets down and retests that 158 area. If it does, then I think you've got a good buying opportunity, because by that time, the 10 EMA should be up there, as well as the 20, probably within the next few days. So that's what we have to watch for, right? We have to see if this area can hold as support. If it does, you're golden to take longs, right? And I need to get my pointer focus on here. I am so sorry, I forgot about that. So you guys can see what I'm pointing at, because it's probably pretty hard to see on this chart. All right, so there we go. All right. So let's see if it holds this support line and then takes off from there for the next move. If it breaks back below, then you're coming back and you're retesting 150, right? Which is this area. And I'll just, it's very simple to do, guys. Okay? Very simple. You go horizontal line, draw it up there to the top. Oops. Got it wrong, my bad. Get that out of there. Let's try that again. There you go. So even if it does break below this, then you come down and retest this. You got secondary support. All right. So let's see what happens. All signs indicate that we should pull back a little bit. That would be healthy. And a chance for other people to buy back in. Shorts, 65% increase in shorts. They know something. This is one of the two great bull fake outs in 2020. We'll see. We'll see. Right? If 65% are loading up right now, then if you get some sort of news or whatnot, and I'm not saying there is, I have no theory for that or facts, but I'm just saying if you get Momo behind this and shorts are piling on, I've seen what can happen before. They eventually have to cover. They have stop losses just like longs do on the other side. And I'm going to refresh that chart so I can get a little clearer. There we go. So anyway, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that to me, I mean, things look short-term bullish, and then I'll go back to this as well. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Okay. And I pointed this out a while back. Hopefully I didn't lose everybody on that refresh. Everybody still there? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, RSI can obviously go higher and it can stay there. I mean, indicators are based on what? Indicators are based on what? They're based on price, right? So what drives indicators down? Price. Just because something hits, an indicator hits a certain area does not mean that it automatically has to go down. I've seen this time and time again over 20 years, and just because it hits a certain area doesn't mean it has to go down. I've been burned way too many times trying to either buy something or, in the past, short something based on what I thought the indicator was showing, and instead of just looking at the moving averages and the fib retracements, it would have saved me a lot of money back then. So things can stay oversold or overbought for periods of time. Just remember that. But to go with your thinking shorts, here's what we have to watch. Okay, and I pointed this out too, is that a long time ago I said that price gets down below the 200 and the 233, right? Eventually it comes back to retest it. So back in here, after we had this massive drop from the all-time highs, look what price did. It came back and it retested the 200-day moving average, 200 and 233. And then what did it do? It rejected off that hard. So where are we at now? Okay, if we scroll in and look where we're at now, we are right there. We're right there. So the question is going to be, is Bitcoin just going to move through this? Or is it going to get rejected right there and then we go lower? Okay? So I'm not totally disagreeing with your theory of if shorts know something or not. This has been a target for us for quite a while. So longs that are looking at this inverted head and shoulders and they look at a target area, they're going to be taking profits off, right? Taking profits off. That creates selling pressure. Now, if shorts are coming in on top of that, that creates selling pressure. But if this wants to go higher for whatever reason, then longs are going to sit here and go, okay, wait a second, that wasn't the top. I'm going to buy back in, and then shorts are going to get screwed because they're going to have to cover. And so what's that create? It creates buying pressure. So we'll keep that in mind, all right? We'll keep that in mind. But for now, I think any move to 9,000, we have to reevaluate when we get there. Which would coincidentally probably be close to that 9,300 on the futures chart. The 78.6 retracement, which logically holds first time, right? Just usually doesn't blow right past it. Excuse me. The other chart I want to go back to is EOS. This is one that I did. I did the chart in channel live that day. The inverted head and shoulders, and it actually blew through the target area, but now it's coming up and it's hitting a fib cluster area, the 272 and the 2618. So this area right here is short-term resistance. We drew this trend line in on the indicator, which, by the way, you can draw trend lines on indicators. So as long as it's above this indicator here and doesn't break down below, then it still has a chance to go higher. It's still bullish. XRP, let's go take a look at that one real quick. This one we talked about, it was arranging in here, and it's trying to get above, and it did. It broke above this resistance line, okay? So what are we going to do? Let's go over and change this to green. And if we go look at our 4-hour chart, because now you have to start squeezing in and going back and looking at your 4-hour charts, right? And seeing where everything might retrace to if that was the top. And so what are we going to do? We're going to go in and do our fib retracements. Let's go in here and just draw one from here, this low, to this high. And we can see that it's already broken below the 236. Okay? Question is, will it hold the upper Bollinger Band? My thinking is it's outside the Bollinger Band. You already know how I feel about that. So the thinking is that it probably comes back and retests the 38.2. Where's the 38.2? Let's draw our horizontal line over to this area over here, which was resistance. And there you go. So this little area right in here should, for bulls, if it's going to continue higher, this area should hold. If it doesn't, then you've got another area down here, and let's draw another retracement. Not a retracement, but a support line right there. Then that area should hold. So to continue the bullish move of XRP, ideally, you do not want to see it go below 23, close to or 22 and a half, but it could. It could obviously come down to 22, but that is the line in the sand right there for bulls. 22. Okay? That's the area that bulls have to hold. Period. Otherwise, you risk a deeper retracement back down to the 78.6 down here at 20 cents. Okay? Or 21. So we're just going to keep things in perspective. And obviously on Bitcoin, if this high breaks, then all these fibs that are down below that I drew, you take them out and you redo it. Okay? So just for those of you that are learning Fibonacci, anytime you draw something from one point to the next, if it breaks that area, you have to remove those fibs. Get them out of there. Okay? Get them out of there. And then you redraw it whenever you see the next short-term top. Okay, any questions on what I just did there? I'm sorry, BSVUSD thoughts. Yeah, I went over this one just a little while ago. Obviously a massive move, right? We saw that. Again, hats off to Being Crypto in our Discord channel. He was all over this one, right? He was all over it. Right now, price is outside Bollinger Bands. Okay? And you know what I feel about that? Let's do this, okay? We're going to do a little training exercise, right? For those of you that are new to Fibonacci and whatnot. So if you see a short-term top like this, and it's pretty obvious that that's a top because price came down and started declining off that, then what do you have to do? You have to take your Fibonacci's and draw them, right? So let's get our tool out. And let's go from this little swing low over here to the top. Okay? So we've got a 38.2 retracement down here at 303. And I doubt that the 23.6 held. Let's take a look. Nope, it didn't. Okay. So 303 would be, and it gets that back inside the upper Bollinger Band. You can see the upper Bollinger Band right here. Price is actually trying to respect that upper Bollinger Band And this happens from time to time. You can get that upper Bollinger Band support and then it goes higher. So until it breaks below that area, which is 315, you're looking at 303. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do another one. Let's just zoom it in a little bit so we can see it. See if we get any kind of fib clusters, right? We had a small retrace back in this area. Let's go up here and see if there's anything that lines up. You can draw fibs from anywhere, right? Right there to there. Okay, and so what are we getting? Still the 38.2, but down here could be bigger support. It's holding the 38.2 on this retracement, which is the upper Bollinger Band, right? But down here would be the 38.2 and the 50% retracement. But then you get a fib cluster down here at 275. You get two fib retracements lining up almost exactly on each other at 275. That would not be bad. I mean, you got this big green stick, right? Big green stick right here. It's going to pull back inside of that a little bit, right? It's just a matter of how much. Now, if it goes below that green stick, obviously it's just plays over. It's done. It's probably just a it could be a I don't want to call it a scam or anything like that, but if it breaks back below that in short order, then you got something like Matic on your hands. I don't think that's what's happening here. I think this thing is just bull move, and then probably retrace back into this area somewhere in here. That would be prime time if you could get it in here. And that would be the 10 EMA, close to old support, and just ladder your positions in, right? But let it break back inside the Bollinger Band first, okay? And then let's see what happens. Don't go chasing it right here. That would be absolutely, you do not chase a 70% move. Absolutely not. If it was to go from here to 500, then so be it, right? But you're protecting your capital. This is what it's all about. You're not going off momentum. You protect your capital. And if you do want to get into it, then have a stop loss somewhere in these areas, right? Keep a tight stop if you're going to play it. If you're risky and you want to play that move, you better be very careful. But you want to protect your capital, because protecting your capital gives you chances to play things like this. If you have zero capital and you lost all your money or you're stuck in something, then guess what? You can't play stuff like this. So protect your capital. Right now, I'm not chasing this. You don't chase 80, 90% moves. You do not. Absolutely not. Okay? Let's go back and look at some other ones. ZRX was one that was mentioned. Had a nice move. I still think it has a little bit further to go. As you can see, price went way outside Bollinger Bands. It's pulling back inside. Maybe a rebuy around 22.5, or even possibly 22 cents to make that final move up here to 25. Okay. BAT is another one. And BAT has already hit the 50% retracement. And this, look at this. Classic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or some people may call it, it's not an AB. Nah, it's not an ABC. But anyway, hitting the 50% retracement here. Possible move up to 23 cents. Bullish. Very bullish. In fact, I like BAT a lot. And why? Because a break above the 200-day moving average, and you see how it broke above it first, came back and just held it as support. That should have been everybody's signal that I need to be long. All right? And so it's holding it now. The question is, how high will it go before it pulls back a little bit and then continues the march on higher? So, bullish on BAT. That's a good looking chart right there. Good looking chart. I like it. XTZ. And that's on the 4-hour chart, by the way. XTZ still below the 200 and the 233. If we go look at it on the daily, I know there's a lot of XTZ followers that think this thing might really rocket higher. As long, and look at this, it's like BAT on a 4-hour chart, right? Above the 200 and the 233, coming down and holding support and holding the 200 and the 233. Bollinger Bands are getting tight. Big move coming. There's a big move coming on XTZ. So my guess would be that it broke this high. The guess would be that it goes higher. But if you're playing this, make sure to have stop losses in place, just in case it decides it wants to go lower. But everything looks to me like this could go a little higher. Okay, so let's go back and look at GBTC on the stocks. Let's look at this. There's the SPY daily. Hitting resistance still. Can't seem to break through that area. Let me change my pointer over to yellow so you can see where I'm pointing to. And GBTC, the last time I looked at it, it had a bearish engulfing. Let's see what happened today. And that's on the daily. Okay, there we go. All right, scrolling in. So GBTC had a gap today. And the gap was at $9.60. It is testing right here. I believe that is the 50. No, that's the 100-day moving average. So testing the 100. Bollinger Bands expanding out. It looks like it could correct back in a little bit before trying to make another move higher. So that's GBTC. We do have a gap lower. Still on the squeeze indicator. It's only on... let me look at that closer. Yep, it's on day 6. So could it possibly get to 11? $2 or $10.50 before it pulls back? Sure. Price outside Bollinger Bands. Getting above this big green or red stick right here would be very bullish. And that would be at $10.30. So that's GBTC. Anything else you guys want to look at? Hey, you're welcome, man. My pleasure. Adam was one that I talked about just a little bit a while ago. Here's something we need to watch if you're playing Adam, and this is the BTC pair. We had this long, and I do mean long, from September, this uptrend line. It did wick below, but on the wick below, we had support down here. In this chart, I drew this a few days ago, that this little support area should hold. And what did it do? Let's go look what it did. It wicked and went higher. So this could turn into a hammer candlestick pattern. Zoom in a little bit. But for it to really be a hammer, in my opinion, I want to see that body be green. It's red right now, but still has the potential to be a hammer candle. It's battling the 10 and the 20 EMAs right now, as well as the 50. If it can sustain that and get above, what, 5460, 5500, then I think she's good to go up to 6500. That's Adam. I do not have a position in Adam. That is a disclaimer. I do not hold Adam. Just pointing it out. What else can we look at? Link. I saw somebody in the channel the other night that pointed out that it took a big dump yesterday. I wouldn't call it a big dump, but it was dumped back into support at the 10 EMA and then rocketing higher off that. Hitting the 127.2 retracement. So short-term resistance here. Obviously a break of this would lead to the next fib retracement areas. Probably ultimately leading to $2.82, which, as we've seen with Link, could not take very long at all. So that's Link. DGB. Let's go ahead and check the old fave, DGB. Let's see here. Just holding this area, right? Broke below support, which is now resistance. It did break above it. Let's see if it can hold it again, and then if it can move higher. Bollinger Bands are getting very, very tight. Could still pull back in for the next day or two before it eventually decides what direction it wants to go. So that's DGB. What else? Litecoin. Litecoin. Nice move off the bottom. Let's get some fib retracements out of there that we had drawn. 61.8 has been broken. It's hitting the 78.6 retracement right now at 59 to 60. I think that'll eventually hold up a little bit as support unless it wants to take on the 200 and the 233. If it does, then you got to look at a move to 74. Anywhere between 66 and 74. That would be your next major area. But first of all, you got to get past the 200 at 66. This little area right over here, if I was to draw a horizontal line, boom, change that to red. And there's your next, if it decides it wants to break above that, there's your next resistance, 66, and then up to 74. So all these are making nice moves higher. Um, but I think that we have to consolidate just a little bit, maybe for the next day or two, and then we'll see what happens after that. All right. Things could obviously pull back in a little bit harder, back down in this area, but I think that might be a decent opportunity to buy back in, unless, like we talked about, and Schwartz was all over this, and I tend to agree that going back to Bitcoin, we saw this back here. If it rejects off that 200-day moving average and doesn't like it, then we risk the move of going lower. Okay? So pay particular attention to the area we're in right now. It's better to be cautious. Okay? Protect your capital. If it breaks above that, you can always buy the breakout. All right? But we've hit, at least as far as what we've called, we've hit our target point, right? We've hit the target point, or close to. Not saying it can't go a little bit higher, but it's been a nice move from where we called it, okay? So don't be afraid to take profits. If you're following the trading plan that I've got outlined in Discord, then you've taken profits. You're holding some long, and they're free shares, right? So you could give a crap if it goes lower or not. If it goes higher, then guess what? You have free shares. It's kind of like on BSV. I played that one and got in. Once it went higher and I put it in the channel, I took my original profits, or original investment out plus some profits, let the rest ride. So if this thing goes to $1,000, then hey, I'm golden. If not, then I could care less, and I'll wait for an opportunity to buy back. That's what it's all about, guys. It's not that hard. And by the way, if anybody's in here, please, if you would do me a favor, hit the like button, and maybe hit that little bell over to the right. That way, if I post something, you'll get notified. That would really, really help me out a lot. So please hit the like button. If you have any comments, please leave them below. I would love to answer your questions, as I'm going to be doing a lot more live streams here in the future. I may start actually doing a daily update on YouTube. So, as far as like updates, I'm not like, as far as like getting everybody in channel, I'll probably do that maybe once or twice a week. But I'll probably start doing a daily update on YouTube. So please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, please, please, please. And hit the like button. All right, any questions? If you're just now joining in, please, if you have something you want me to go over, please let me know. And it can be cryptos, it could be stocks, it could be, you name it. It could be anything. And I can usually TA a chart in about 5 minutes, maybe less. Won't take me long, and I can do it live. Okay, let's see here. What do we got? Rep. Is that the BTC pair or the USD pair? All right, USD pair. Let's go take a look. I don't know if I have this one listed in my... Nope, I don't. All right, so let's go look. Let's look at it on... Let's go look at it on Bittrex. Aha! Okay. So again, here's what I'm going to point out. Okay? Oh my gosh, this has got me thinking I may want to get in this one. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay? This is amazing. And it doesn't take me long to recognize it, right? But when you see a move, okay, we've been in a long downtrend, right? Big, long downtrend. Holding support, okay? And this little last move over here that was a slightly lower low, that was to get people out. That's a short stop, or a stop right there. That's just people getting out of their stops right there. That's a stop hunt. Makes the move higher, okay? You get people chasing into it. And then what happens? Everybody's like, okay, well, what's going to happen? I mean, gosh, it's not going higher, but it hits the 200 and the 233-day moving average. Now look what you got. It's just riding this 200-day moving average down in a corrective manner. Okay? You see that? That is corrective. That is a corrective move of this move right here. So let's go draw our fibs on it and let's see where maybe it bounced here. Maybe that was the 78.6. I'm just saying. It's either the 78.6 or the 61.8. Get that out of there. And I don't think I drew that. Let's see. I didn't draw it right. Let's go do that. So from here up to here. Amazing. Amazing. Absolutely freaking amazing. Did I not say it before I drew the fib retracement that it would hit the 78.6? Okay? See that? Boom, boom. It's not rocket science, guys. It's Fibonacci. It's Fibonacci. Okay? So now what are we going to be doing? Now what are we doing? So let's do this. Let's start seeing where our retracements are to the upside if it breaks this area. Okay? We already know what it can't go below. We know it can't go below $8.23. That's our established low, okay? EMAs are starting to try to turn right here, right? Trying to go higher. Now let's see what we got to the upside. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw this retracement from this high down to this low, okay? Now let's go to settings. And let's just see where it's stopping at right in here. And that's probably going to be about a 50 to 38.2 retracement. Close to. There we go. 50% retracement. Let's get our 618 on there. So these are your retracements to the upside, right? Once you break above, and I'll call it, once you break above $11.35, then you're going to make a big move, probably up to 14. Okay? I mean, you're going to have some resistance probably right here at $12.20 at the 78.6. But once that breaks, these highs will get taken out. And then you're going up to here. Now, what else can we do? That's just a shorter term, what we're looking at. That's just very, very short term. So let's do this. Let's scroll out. Okay. And we can see we got a bigger top back here. So let's do a fib retracement on it. Let's just say that this was the ultimate low. I'm not saying it is, but let's just for instance, for Fibonacci purposes. Okay. Get our fib tool out and draw it from here down to there. And let's see if anything else is lining up. And lo and behold, what do we got? I can see it right now. You've got, let's scroll in, okay? You see how you can barely read these numbers right here? That is a fib cluster, right? So I will just put it on the channel and just say that, let's go rectangle. Right there. That's your target, right? That's your target area right there. So if you're in right here, that's your target. Provided that the 78.6 retracement holds. And we've seen that's a corrective move right there. So are we going to get another move like this? And I'll point this out too. Let's do this. If this wave right here, and we're going to go do this. This is another tool you can use. Go over to your area where you do your fib retracements. Click that little button right there and go fib, trend-based fib extension. Okay? And let's just see if waves equal one another. And that's basically what this is. Click it from the low to that high, and then draw it back down to your low. Is that not amazing? So if this wave is going to equal the next one, your target area is right here. Right in the middle of that area I just drew. Where the fib cluster is, where the 1-to-1 extension is. This has got me wanting to buy this thing. I'll tell you right now. It's got me wanting to buy it. And if you want me to go over how I did that again, I'll be more than happy to. But that is simple TA stuff right there. So if you're looking at this, in my opinion, okay, this is my opinion only. And don't roast me if it goes the other way. But we do know 78.6 is an established low off that move. Okay? Established low off that move. Okay? All I did was this. I took the fib-based retracement and took it from that low right there to this high and drew it back down to the low to see what's going to happen if maybe this move that it made right here equals that move. Right? And then I drew simple Fibonacci from here to here, and then I went back in time and drew it from here to there. So I've got a fib cluster, and I've also got a 1-to-1 extension that leads me to believe that if this breaks out, then this is the area to take profits. It's pretty simple. It's just a matter of when it's going to get there. Could it chop around for the next couple of days and maybe, it could drop down to $9.52. As long as it does not break the 78.6, then I think it's headed here. You guys like that? Is that not good? And I did it live. I did it live for you on a blank chart. Blank chart. Much like I did EOS the other day. I did EOS the same way. How many other people are doing that crap for you guys? I'm teaching you guys right now. Instead of just, hey, here's where I think that's going, here's where this is going, which I will do, but I'm teaching how you do this. This is not hard. You have to recognize the patterns, right? Just recognize when you get a big move like this and it corrects, and it holds a retracement, start looking to the upside as far as where your targets will be. Hey, Abram. Oh, you're welcome, man. You're welcome, Eddie. Hope that helps. It's got me thinking I want to get into it. I just think that thing has, and from here that would be a pretty good percentage gainer. So I would, it's not like you're wanting to expect the moon on this thing, but if you follow the trading plan and you're in early, then obviously once you get to a certain area, probably up in here around $12, maybe even here at 11, take your original investment out and keep the rest riding for free. And then you take the rest of it, or 3/4 of it, most of it off right here. That's kind of the thinking. I'm going to keep this chart up. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. If it does, then, man, that would be nice. Good stuff. All right. Any other chart requests? What else do we got? Let's go look at ADA real quick. I know there's a lot of ADA holders out there. Let's go ahead, and it broke above that resistance line. So let's change that. Dash. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go look at Dash. Dash USD. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Very nice move. All right, so let's see where it's stopping and why. All right, so if you'll notice, here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to start from one point and then I'm going to work my way back. All right. So we knew that a lot of wicks in here. That would be almost a weird kind of retracement, probably a higher one. Let's go, just for giggles and grins, let's just do this. Down to there. Let's see if maybe the 4236 held. Yeah, sure didn't. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and put that there. Let's do this. Let's take that out. And let's go back to this little wick back here. Down to the low. Come on. Here to there. And then let's go to, let's go to settings. Why is it stopping up there? 1272 maybe? Oh, okay. There we go. All right, so the 1272 is kind of holding it up right here on this one. Let's scroll back in time a little bit, and just in case that is a more important bottom, let's go to this top, and let's take it down to that bottom. And let's see what we've got here. See if anything lines up. 50%, 38.2. Not really seeing anything line up right there. Let's go back to this one over here. And there we go. We got something lining up. Fib cluster wise, let's go 38.2's out. Broke the 50. All right. So on Dash, basically, fib cluster here, that's why it's stalling. Okay, and especially around the 233 EMA. You've also got a fib cluster up here just in case it breaks, which coincidentally lines up with that right there. So let's change that to red because that's going to be resistance. So if it breaks here, then you're coming up to the 38.2, which will be tough resistance. Then eventually up to 103, 104 area, which will be major resistance. Price way outside Bollinger Bands. You probably want to see that pull back in a little bit. Let these moving averages catch up. Okay. Let those catch up. And then you could also do something like this. I've done this before on stuff, is trend lines on indicators. Let's just draw the line from here. Let's get it right. If I can do it. There we go. Something like that, maybe. So, still bullish as far as the indicator goes. It's oversold. Does it pull back here to the trend line and then bounce a little bit more and stay oversold? Eventually, it's probably going to break that, and that's when you'll see your your more defined downtrend or retracement. But I would say as far for now, you're at resistance right now. I'm not recommending buying it right now. In fact, I'm recommending if you got in somewhere earlier that you take some profits and take more profits up here. If it pulls back, you could always buy it back at the 10 EMA, which is down at, 65, and keeps rising every day. So you'll have to adjust your thinking on that each day you watch it. Because on a candle close, this is going to move up, right? Those moving averages are going to move up. So that's what I would be watching for. Let's go to a 4-hour chart. And that just looks like a crazy wick right there. I'm not sure if that really happened or not. I'm sure if you follow it quite a bit, maybe you'll know if it did or not. But that would be one hell of a move. Right? That's why I hate those little wicks that happen like that. It's just, I see that as like total BS, like a misprint or something. And I just hate it when it does that because it screws up charts. Anyway, if you break above this little area right up here, you're going up to, like I say, the 38.2, and then the fib cluster, next fib cluster up here at 103. Yeah, it's crazy. It just drives me crazy. Absolutely drives me crazy. Anyway, let's see what happens. Maybe it just kind of bull flags in here for a little bit, pulls back inside the Bollinger Bands, back down to here, maybe here, and then takes off and makes the next move. So we'll see what happens. All right, questions? Chart requests? That was Dash, by the way, Dash USD. These big green sticks, guys, I'm just telling you, you don't want to be buying into those. Don't do it. I know everybody is like fear of missing out and they want to FOMO into this. Don't do it. You've already missed the big move. Back here, back in here, that's where you should have been buying. Don't buy at the top or potential top. Okay. What else do we got? I'm not sure if anybody saw my weekly chart or not on Bitcoin, but I'll show it again. Okay, so here's my weekly chart of Bitcoin. Okay. We already know about what we talked about. This little area of the 200 to 233. Oops, I'm sorry, my bad. Switch over to the weekly. There we go. You already know on the daily what we have to get past, right? But on the weekly chart, it looks a little bit different, right? It makes one wonder if we can get past that, all right? So we've already talked about corrective moves, right? Here's the cup. We made that move. Is that your handle? Corrective move to the downside. You had the cupping bottom right here. Cup. Okay. Rounding bottom, cup. And then your handle. Now, the only other thing is this. we do have this long-term trend line from way back here coming all the way down to here. So one would think, and it's logical to assume this, is that we could actually move all the way up to 11,000 and still be somewhat in a longer term bearish mode, right? Could be. I still tend to believe that that was the bottom right here. And that this is a wave 1, that's a wave 2, and this could possibly, I'm saying, be a wave 3. And if it is a wave 3 or even a correction, then that takes us up to 15,000, 16,000. I'm not calling that yet. Okay? I'm not calling that. But I also looked at, look at this, okay? We had price right here, okay? And look where your indicator is. It's down here. Okay? Price went lower and indicator was higher. That's a bullish divergence. Okay? Textbook stuff. Bullish divergence. That's on a weekly chart. Takes time, right? It takes weeks. So it could be somewhere by February, let's just call it, if this thing continues the bullish trend, you can see the EMAs are starting to hook around, okay, like they want to go up. Like they want to go up. Okay, we survived this little area right here where it looked like things were going to push down, and now price has reversed and we're getting the EMAs going back the other way. Okay? EMA is going back the other way. At the very minimum, I would think, we go to 10,500 and test the upper Bollinger Band. Or in that area. But I think everything is pointing to this area right here, where we got multiple fib clusters at 11,350. Could it wick above that and go fill the gap at 13,000? It could, but we'll just have to see what happens when it gets there. But right now, this is a bullish chart, right? For the short term. Correction, and we're trying to break out of that. So keep that in your long-term view, right? Short term, we're down here, 8,700, right? And we're worried about 200 and 300 point moves to the downside or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But longer term, we're looking at this. Okay? Longer term, we're looking at a bigger move. Okay? So we'll see what happens. Questions on that chart? And I'm sorry to disappoint you, Schwartz, but those guys that are getting in short right now, I hope they have a short-term plan. Short, as in like quick plan, like taking profits quickly. I just see this, in my mind, I see this as going higher. Okay? That's how my mind works. I could be totally wrong, and we could totally reverse this and go lower and retest 5,200. But I just don't see that happening. I see the bounce off the lower Bollinger Band, and us going higher and potentially taking out that upper Bollinger Band and turning it up to the upside. Questions on that chart? Let's go look at a monthly. Oh, and isn't that interesting? Okay, here we go. On a monthly chart. And still a long ways to go, right? But we're watching our indicator come off the high, corrective move to the downside, okay? Corrective move to the downside. All that was after this big move was just corrective, all right? Corrective. And now we're starting to turn and go back the other way. And this indicator, if it holds that 40 area, that's a perfect bounce point to go higher and take this thing back into oversold range. Okay, so low, higher low. Now, do we take out this high? That's going to be the question. This is going to take a little time to do, right? It's going to take a little time. It's a monthly chart, but get it in your mind that this area right up here could be the area to test. 11,450. Somewhere in that area. All right, Eddie, have a good one. Thanks for coming in, buddy. But we'll see how it plays out. I mean, the month's not over. Hey, Friesen. How are you doing? Yes, I went over both of those, but I'll go over them again. No problems with that. Everybody like that monthly chart? The monthly and the weekly that I did? Does everybody understand that? How you have to get your mind wrapped around time? Right? This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Right? It's a marathon. So wrap your head around time. Okay? If you're a short-term trader, look at a 4-hour chart. If you're a swing trader, look at a daily chart. Or 4. 4 works for swing traders. But your longer-term view, you have to go out to a weekly and a monthly, right? To get the general direction and trend of something, right? Which way is it going? Am I buying the dips or am I selling the rallies? So that's what you have to watch for. Okay, let's go back to... excuse me. Okay, let's go back to... All right, there's BTC. We've already gone over that. That's a daily chart. Let's go over ZRX. Right there. Okay, so ZRX basically had, it's bottoming, right? We know this. And why do we know it? Because you take a point from here to here to here to here to here. It's bottoming out. Price and EMAs, okay, look at the EMAs, curling up. It's battling the 200 and the 233 EMAs right now. But short term, look what's happened on ZRX lately. What has become support? It's the 10 EMA. See this line? Support, 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 and support. So, is it going to retrace? You betcha. It's going to retrace a little bit. But that EMA should be support. And eventually, when this thing starts really turning and going, the 20 will become support. So it may go past the 10, but the 20 should hold it. It's past the 50 EMA right now. There's your 50 EMA right there in green. That is a bullish move. So it's taken out key resistance. Again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Okay? So this thing is going to churn higher up into probably 25 cents down the road. It's going to come back. It's going to test a 10 or a 20 back at 21 cents. It's going to hopefully hold that and bounce higher into the next resistance zone. Right? We're building a cup. We're building a cup here. Position management. Okay. All right, so you've got 2 BTC and 100 LTC, of which you've sold 50% at today's high. Would you recommend to hold on to cash or keep it in assets and open shorts sequentially? Okay, so I don't short. That's my deal. I don't short. So I will get that disclaimer out of there. I'm not real good at or confident about shorting stuff. It just kind of burned me in the past, and so it turned me off of that. Now, some other people may be very successful at it, and if they are, then great, good for them. I'm just not. So I only look at long position trades. So if you've got 2 BTC right now, it depends on where you got into BTC or where did you get into LTC, right? Did you get into them at a good price? If you did, then if you got 2 BTC at, let's say, 7,500, then I would recommend probably taking, okay, so 6,800. Okay, so I would recommend for now at least taking half your position off, protecting your capital, okay, and wait on a retracement. We know we're at resistance, right? We're very close to resistance. Longer term over the next few months, and this is where you have to determine what type of trader you are. Are you a day trader or are you a hold or hodler? That's where you have to determine what type of trader you are. There's opportunities to be able to trade this market. We've seen it time and time again. So if you go to 6,800, then why can't you take like half your BTC position or half of your LTC and at least get your capital back? Maybe even go more than that and take some profit. There's nothing wrong with taking profits in this market. What you're wanting to do is you're wanting to compound your money. What's the best way to compound your money? Okay? And I'll just go back to my penny stock trading days. I wasn't so much worried about a 1 cent stock going to 50 cents. I could care less. All I was worried about is my 1 cent stock going to 2 cents. And so if it did that, then I was taking my original investment out, probably 75%, and keeping a small portion into that thing just in case it went higher. And then what did I do? I went on to the next one. There's so many plays out there where things are bottoming out. They haven't moved yet. There's tons of things that you can get into, but you want to compound your money. Okay? I was down, and I'll tell this story. I was down to my last $3,000 back in 1999. Late 1999. I took that $3,000 and I turned it into $150,000 in 3 months. And why? Because I compounded my money. And it wasn't based on one stock. It wasn't based on one thing. I compounded it because I went from that stock to this stock, that stock to this stock, and I compounded my money. And that's what everybody has to try to do. You can't fall in love with one thing. Now, you could sit there and day trade this thing all day long if that's your choosing, right? You could sit there and look at a 1 hour chart or a 2 hour chart and try to trade it off that. But is that how you want to play it? To compound your money, you have to take these big moves when they happen, and you have to get it out of your mind. When you sell, you have to get it out of your mind, right? I made money. You have to look at the positive. I made money. Positive thinking. Who cares if after you sell it goes to 9,000 or 10,000, right? As long as you follow my trading plan, then you still have a portion in it. So you could care less, right? It's like I did with BSV, and I pointed that out in the channel. I told guys, I said, look guys, I took my profits and I still have some, and if it goes to 0, I'm fine. If it goes to wherever, I'm fine with that too. So you have to define what type of trader you are, but the ultimate goal is to compound your capital, compound your money. And if I have to beat that into the brains of everybody, I will. But it worked for me. It can work for you. Okay? Keep your losses at a minimal, right? We've seen today, there's Bitcoin's up 8%, BCH up 28%, BSV up 121%. There's moves like this happening all over the place, right? You have to take advantage of those moves, but then keep your losses down to 2 and 3%. Right? Find where you want to buy into, and then if it goes against you, get out. All right? Have a stop loss. Keep your losses to a minimal, but then let your other ones, if you catch them and you ride them, perfect. Boy, BSV. It's not done yet. Oh, that thing's a monster. Absolute monster. There's the BTC pair. Look at that wick. I wonder if I'd have had a sell order in, and I was thinking about this today. I was like, because I had a position in and still do BSV, but I was like, I wonder if I'd have put some crazy order out there, if that would have got filled. That's just funny. If I'd have put an order in to sell at 25 cents, I wonder if that thing would have got filled. That's too funny. Anyway. All right. Any other questions? Chart requests? Yeah, forgive my cat. She's starting to cry. All right, so I did the 4 hour. Let's see, 4 hour on BSV. And let's see, let's take that out of there. Now let's do this, actually. It's broken the 161.8, I think. Yep. So let's go to the 261.8. So this thing could hit, wow, could go up to 6 cents. That's crazy. Interesting. LTC, let me take a look. LTC, I did cover it. Let's go to a daily chart. Okay, so on LTC, nice rounding bottom again, right? Much like on a lot of these, is that low, high, or low, lower low, higher high, higher high, higher high. And it's just holding this 10 EMA and riding it up. So what are we looking for? We're looking for where is resistance at. Resistance obviously right here is at 60, right? 59-ish, 60. And then you've also got this old area of resistance right over here, okay? Which also lines up at 66. So if it breaks this 59-ish area, 60, then you're going to come up and hit 66 and test this area, which is the 200-day moving average. If it breaks that, you're coming up and testing the 1272 retracement, which is where the 233-day moving average is. And that's at 75. Okay? But is it going to get there in one move, or is it going to retrace a little bit and then go there? Right? So that's what you have to look at and you have to think at. I mean, ultimately, I think it probably gets up at here, 66, and then eventually 75. There's always a good chance you could get the next stick in. Shorts could be coming in. Drive it lower a little bit. If that happens, you would want to hold the 50 area. All right? Hold 50 and probably even 46. I know everybody is wanting to FOMO into this thing, but guys, I'm just telling you, we've seen this time and time again when price gets way outside Bollinger Bands. Be careful. Be careful. Let it come back inside, and this daily candle will probably close out here pretty soon. And let's see where things line up after that. Okay? We've had big percentage gains in this, guys. Big percentage gains everywhere. So it's a question of, are you really, really greedy? Have you, followed the trading plan and taking your profits when you need to. I mean, people waited months, right? November, December, January. 3 months people have waited for this thing to turn, and now it is. And if they're buying back in here, you've got your opportunity right here. Right? Don't be one of those latecomers to the party and be one of those that's buying here and eventually, having to sell because you got stuck and then rebuy back here. Profits, guys. That's the name of the game. Name of the game. It's not like, now, regardless, I mean, let's look at BSV. That's a paradox, right? BSV is a paradox. That's going to happen, right, with some stuff. But for most things, you don't want to sit there and think, is it going to the moon? Everything goes up, it comes down. It goes up, it comes down. It goes up, comes down. Nothing goes straight up, ever. And nothing goes straight down, ever. I've been in this 20 years, guys. I'm just telling you right now, when you have profits, take them. Don't be afraid of that. Take profits. Put it in your bank. Keep it, or put it to the side. Keep it for a spot where you think something is at the ultimate bottom. Or if you're into shorting, if you think it's at the ultimate top, play it that way. I beg you. I beg you. I beg you. I beg you. Don't get greedy. It happens too many times and just drives me crazy. Be positive attitude. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to compound your money and you're trying to build up positive thinking, right? If you make a great trade, what does that do? Positive. It's positive thinking. Hey, I made a great trade. I can do it on the next one. Go do it on the next one. Positive thinking on the next one, and then compound it and just keep it going. Yeah, of course, you're never going to have a winning trade all the time. You're going to lose some, right? It happens. That's the nature of the market. But you want to be, for a successful trader, on your trades, you want to be around 80% successful. If you're successful 80% of the time on your trades, you could probably quit your day job at some point down the road and just do this all the time. Or, depending on how much money you have, you could just do it as a supplemental income. This could be a very nice supplemental income for you. BSV, look at that. What a monster. Wow. I think I might have to, let me see here. Did a 4 hour? Oh yeah, look at that. New highs. So what do? You take out your fib retracements. BSV, what a move. All right. Any other question, guys? Any other questions? By the way, just a reminder for those people in channel, please hit the like button, or if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Or recommend me to other people. That would really help me out. And if you do recommend me to somebody, please let me know. I will send you a little bit of crypto if you do. So recommend me to all your friends, followers, whatnot. Hit the like button. That would help out as well. I'm going to try to get to, if I can get over 1,000 followers, that would really, really help me. And then, like I say, I'm going to try to do a nightly video update covering, like the majors and a few altcoins. And then probably do a live stream once or twice a week. All right, guys. Any other questions? Chart requests? Anything to go over? Otherwise, I'm going to bounce out here for a little bit. I may come back on a little later. All right, guys. Any other questions? Let's see here. If you had $1,000 to trade, how would you build a portfolio? Okay. Hang on one second. All right, so $1,000. Okay. And this almost got me thinking here, guys. This almost makes me want to open up an account, right? Just a totally separate account somewhere, and just put $1,000 into it. And if anybody wanted to follow me, they could. I've thought about that. But regardless of that, if I had $1,000, I would, and it obviously, it's very small capital, right, that you're working with. I would, just, golly, it just depends on, you have to look at, like, the higher percentage moves, right? So is it going to be Bitcoin? No, right? Bitcoin is probably not going to give you huge high percentage moves just based on the price where it's at right now. Okay? So you almost have to look at altcoins. And from there, you want to look at, what's it support, and just compound it from there. So things like ZRX, things like BAT, even XTZ, things that might make you money. You know what I'm saying? Catch them when they're low. EOS was one, but it's already ran. But look at some of these that could make you 20% in a day or 10%. What you're after on $1,000, right? Okay? And this is how you have to think about it logically. You have $1,000. If you was to go all in with $1,000 on something and you made 10% on a move, what does that get you? It gets you to $1,100. All right? So you're looking at, and not only that, but depending on where you're trading, what they charge for fees. So you're almost better off with $1,000 trying to swing trade instead of day trade, right? You want to be able to get into something that over the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks might get you potentially 20% or 30%. Something to make you that. It's going to take a long time with $1,000 to be able to get you to where you need to go. All right? And that's just being honest with you. Some people would be tempted to go all in with $1,000, right? $1,000, screw it. And I did this back in 1999 with my $3,000, but and I'm not going to be afraid to admit it. I had a little bit of help. It wasn't so much insider help as it was I just got in with the right crowd, and once I did, I doubled my money overnight. All right, so it could happen, but you have to be in the right place at the right time to do that. After I did that one time, then it was much harder, right? I mean, I just had to compound it. But I was very risky back in those days doing that. But it is possible to compound your money, but you have to have the expectation in your mind that, hey, I'm not going to get rich overnight. I'm not going to take $1,000 and magically it's going to turn into, when I wake up the next morning, $100,000 or $30,000. It's not going to happen. So what you have to do is you have to be disciplined. Number one, keep your losses to a minimal. Number two, and then three, take your profits when you get them. Okay? Be very disciplined in your trading. Very disciplined. Wait for setups. You don't have to trade every day. You don't have to, just because something goes up, you don't have to go look at it and go, oh, I'm missing out. You don't have to do that. You have to look at it and go, you know what? I'm going to be patient. And I've been watching this chart and it looks like it's coming back into my area where I want to buy based on my charts or based on what CryptoFib says or based on what my charts show, and that's ultimately where I want to get you guys, is where you don't have to rely on me whatsoever. You're not looking at me and going, oh, what's he thinking? What's he doing? My thinking is totally different than other people's thinking. So you have to, all I can do is give you the tools and show you what I look at, and then you determine what you want to do after that. So what you want to do is you want to sit there and go, okay, here's kind of what I'm thinking. It's at a low, and I'm going to buy it right here. I'm going to risk it down to this area. If it hits it, I'm out. But if it moves higher, once it gets to this point, that's where I'm selling. And you have to stick with it. Stick with it. Don't sit there and just ride it up and you're looking all over crypto and they're like, oh, this thing's going to the moon. It's blah, blah, blah. Have a plan in place. This is where I want to get out. I'm going to make $100 if it hits this area, and then I'm out. Now I've turned my 1,000, or potentially, I'm not saying you have to go all in, right? I never recommend that whatsoever. But let's just say you put $500 in. 10% move, you make $50. 20% move, you make $100. So work on that type of trading plan. All right. So anyway, that all makes sense. I hope it did. I'm not trying to rant or anything like that, but that's kind of my thinking. With $1,000, it's hard, but it can be done. It can be done. It just takes time. Okay? All right. Any other questions? Perfect sense. Yep. That's all it takes. All right, so it looks like Bitcoin is trying again here. After a little dip, it didn't dip down much. Looks like it's trying to possibly make that move to 9,000. We shall see. I was really hoping it would pull back in a little bit more, but it didn't want to. Still may happen. We'll see. All right, guys. Any questions? Chart requests? XTZ, let's look at that one. Yeah, pulling back a little bit. Nice. BAT. Wow. Okay, so BAT's in full bull mode right here. Here's one thing I need to do on BAT, and I'll do it while we're live, just to get an idea of where. Let's see if something lines up here. Let's do the fib. Trend-based fib extension. Let's go from this little low right here to that high. And down to that low. Okay, so looking like 22 cents on BAT possibly for resistance. CRX. Still just kind of in the uptrend mode here. This is actually not too bad looking. I mean, it's just like every time somebody wants to short, they just keep getting squeezed out. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how it plays out. Let's go look at EOS. Same thing. Eventually, this has got to pull back inside the Bollinger Bands. Okay. One would think, but then again, it's crypto. Crazy moves. Is there anything I'm forgetting? Seems like I might be. And please notice, by the way, throughout this whole bull move, Matic. Okay. Mentioned this when it first happened, and just experience-wise, it tells me it's going to be a long, long time before Matic ever even thinks about getting up here again. Ever. Okay? Seen it too many times. That is a pure pump, dump, and bag holders are stuck. All right? These people up here are screwed. Okay? They're screwed. So they're either going to hold it for the next year, or they sell out, or even try to buy lower, average up, whatever, blah, blah, and then hope for a move that gets them out. But this thing is not recovering anytime soon. So anyway, sorry for those guys. Let's go look at BCH. Yep, BCH is kind of like doing the same thing as BSV. Making this massive move right here into some resistance. Short term coming up 61.8. 78.6 after that. So could be possibly looking at a move over 400 here fairly soon. We'll see. Not guarantee anything. TRX. Let's go look at TRX. Golly, that's an oldie but a goodie. TRX. Oh, look at that. TRX trying to come back a little bit. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and TA this one. Let's do our little fib retracements. And obviously we want to go from this high to this low. And let's throw in our fib retracements and see if there's anything blocking it right now. 161.8, probably 1272. Yeah, close to. All right, so there's that one. It's broken technically above it a little bit, but I still keep it on there just because it's close enough in that range. But eventually it could come up to, what is that, 17,992. Let's go back and look at a longer term one. Let's go back and look at this retrace and see if anything lines up. Any kind of fib cluster. Let's just take a look. All right, so let's look at the 61.8. Let's look at the 38.2 it's passed, and let's look at the 50 and 78.6. All right. So nothing really lining up, at least on this major. Yeah, it's still a possibility. I mean, it's in, you're approaching resistance 50, then the 161.8 at the 200-day moving average. So right up in here is probably going to be your area to watch. And then we'll see what happens there. Okay. I mean, I could go back even farther, but we did make higher lows, right? And now it's trying to bounce off this. This might not be horrible for the longer term, but short term, you're going to face some resistance right here. If it blows through that, then obviously, we'll have to watch for a retrace back to this. All right. So, interesting. Okay. So it could do something like back in here. All this was coming down. It came up. It tested it, broke through, retraced off of it, and then made higher highs. That's almost what you want to see, right? You want to see it break above, come back and test it, and then go higher. So that's TRX. Let's look at what is XRP doing, I wonder. XRP. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so still moving higher. Still hasn't retraced just yet, which is what we're waiting on. Still resistance up here at 20, almost 25 cents. So we'll watch that. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Chart requests? Anything? All right, guys. Looks like it's been about 2 hours. So I'm going to take a little break here. Decent chance I might be back on here maybe in another hour and a half, maybe 2. And we'll see where everything's at that point. I will give a notification in the channel if I do. But again, thanks everybody for coming in. And we will see you guys later. Thanks for coming in. Please hit the like or subscribe button. That would help me out quite a bit. Thank you so much. All right, guys, have a good one, and we'll chat soon.